We are on the threshold of the most catastrophic event the world has ever seen or conceived in their minds, and we're living right here on it. People, it's too late. Say they control everything now. Say it's just a matter of time. You cannot stop it. You can't stop it. It's in the Bible. It's about money. Up until last year when I stopped keeping up, more than 40-something of the leading, not students that go get a PhD, the leading microbiologists in the entire world were killed. Didn't matter what your nationality was, didn't matter what race you were. If you were one of the top microbiologists that deal with diseases and the prevention of diseases, you were killed, you were missing. Some were kidnapped, some are still missing, some were killed, some committed suicide, just mysteriously. Over 40-something, again, listen to what I'm saying, leading microbiologists in the entire world. Sounds like a coincidence, but it's not a coincidence. So, a microbiologist could easily, any Mickey Mouse PhD microbiologist could easily formulate something and put in the drinking water that the antiquated testing equipment that we have in most of these antiquated water treatment plants couldn't even detect. If they wanted to, now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out how to sabotage if you wanted to. Just like they did over in Japan, that scare when they went in the subway system, that anthrax was dropped somewhere. Well, if anthrax really was a problem, and as our State Department said, the terrorists had possession and the ability to deliver anthrax just about in any populated area, why haven't they done it? That's what our state, I'm only going by what our State Department says. So this was whirling through my mind. I said, one terrorist act would only affect that particular area, and it really couldn't justify a permanent clampdown on all of continental America. And then I said, the only thing that could bring out, that could activate, now visibly activate Homeland Security is the trucking industry. There's no other industry more vital in America than the trucking industry. So Monday I gave my prognosis, and I told you it was just a prognosis. Monday, I said, you know what? I said, this thing is, how many remember me talking about this Monday? I said, this thing is going through my mind. I said, a trucker strike, a national trucker strike, would immediately handicap, cripple not only the economy, but threaten the survival of all America. And if you know anything about the Teamsters, most of you don't, the Teamsters Union was the ones that controlled, by racketeering, the trucking industry. And throughout their history, they have been very violent. And when you're dealing with livelihoods, and many of the truckers suspect that there's an impropriety going on, because diesel fuel is the cheapest fuel to produce, to refine. It's cheap, yet it is the most expensive to purchase. And diesel fuel for historically has always been the cheapest fuel for the last 50 or 60 years. But the trucking industry depends on, number two, diesel fuel. Interesting. Always remember, desperate people do desperate things. Say it again. Desperate people do desperate things. The old saying. Now envision this, a person is drowning and they want to live. You know what a sword looks like, and a sword is very sharp. to understand that desperate people will do desperate things, there's an old adage that says this: even a drowning man will reach for the end of the sword. That's desperation. I mean, a two-edged, razor-sharp sword, you're going to reach for it. Even if you begin to squeeze it, you won't be able to sustain the effort. Just cut your hands, just cut through everything, all the tendons, etc. But when you're desperate, you do desperate things. And so if there is, and I'm guessing that unless something radically changes, there will be a national trucker strike. People will panic. The medical industry, they depend on the trucking industry. So when people are sick and they can't transport medications, what is going to happen? Panic. It's right here on the horizon. Panic. Panic. But we are not to be alarmed, because number one, we're forewarned, and because we're forewarned, we're prepared. Would you please read the top line of that dollar? Now, may I paraphrase? It means promissory note. It means promissory note. There is no currency of anything of equal value to back this up. It's a piece of paper. Now, if you look below the United States, it says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Say, we will honor this piece of paper. There is no gold or silver to back it up. This is when the currency was changed, and the reason was changed is because this private corporation, it says Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has nothing to do with the government. It is a private corporation owned by the international bankers and a few wealthy families in America. That's the Federal Reserve note. Now just think about the concept of that international bankers and wealthy families control our currency. They can easily, as Thomas Jefferson said, be manipulative. They can inflate it and they can deflate it, and there is no regulatory authority over them whatsoever. You know who regulates the Federal Reserve? Themselves. Congress can't do anything. President cannot do anything. There is no one that regulates them but themselves. So when they raise interest rates, raise interest rates, it's purely at the discretion of, international bankers and wealthy families. It's what you call general information that the public is clueless about. So now let's just be practical. Let's use some common sense. Wealthy, we can't even call these people wealthy. Their wealth exceeds what we think wealth is. When you see Forbes' list of these billionaires and so forth, I don't care if it's Beatty or the Mexican guy or the Indian guy or what's his name? Bill Gates. That is peanuts. Those 40, 50 billions is peanuts. That's not money when it comes to this. This is not a Christian preacher or a conspiracist or someone that is anti-government propaganda. This is a man that was put in position by the interests.